What's good, YouTube? Today we are talking about the Terry Rozier sports betting scandal. This is not the first time the NBA has had a sports betting scandal. They've had one from the Tim Donahue one, which made public headlines. It was all over. It had a whole 30 for 30. It was all over the mainstream news, etc. And after that, they had Jontay Porter, who got into a betting scandal last year. And now this year we see yet another betting scandal. The NFL's had a few in the past couple years. I'm saying it right now. Terry Rozier is a fall guy just like Jontay Porter. But we're gonna react to AM Hoops video. So before we get anything, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, ring that notification bell. Let's get it.
23rd, 2023. Terry Rozier started for the Charlotte Hornets in New Orleans. Grabbed a few rebounds, hit a few shots, playing great. Then after 9 minutes, he is ruled out with a foot injury. No limp, he wasn't stepped on, nothing. But some people obviously saw this injury coming. Because earlier that day, is there any reason why there are zero Terry Rozier props on any sports books or DFS sites?
Yeah, they do this a lot already with players where they'll play like a couple minutes and then sit out because they had a stomach illness magically. Somehow they have a stomach illness even though they were cleared to play prior to the game. But yeah, it's all part of, fuck up prop bets.
Did I miss something? No, he wasn't listed on the Hornets injury report before the game, but obviously somebody knew something. Sportsbooks took Rozier off their menu to not take any more bets, but why? And now Rozier plays just 9 minutes and then is out the rest of the game. Conspiracy theorists are gonna run with this one. Yes,
Ain't nothing to need to run with. The runway's already there. It's already fishy.
they will. Except it wasn't some wacky conspiracy. It turns out on game day, a firm called US Integrity notified sportsbooks of abnormal betting volume on Terry Rozier unders. Unusual, because US Integrity only raised a red flag 3 times in 2 years. Twice for a player named Jontay Porter, now banned for life for a betting scandal, and once for Terry Rozier. Uh-oh, is this proof?
Fall guys, again, fall guys, out of all the players in the league, these are the only two that you magically bust. Pause. Fall guys.
Proof that Terry is guilty of rigging bets? Or is it just a big coincidence? Well, there's a lot more to this story when you dig in. So this all started March 2024 when the NBA announced it was investigating 2 Raptors games where Jontay Porter's prop bets were suspicious. A lot of money was bet on the unders, and it turned out
Who is betting on Jontay Porter prop bets, bro? Like, seriously, who is out here betting on Jontay Porter prop bets?
Jontay pulled himself early from both games. It was as if some shady bettors knew something beforehand. Well, they eventually made arrests, and Jontay pled guilty to betting on himself and giving others information to clear his debts. But in January this year, a 5th person was arrested and text messages were leaked. Before a game on January 26, 2024, Jontay gave somebody a heads up. You should hit unders for the big numbers. I told name, no blocks, no steals. I'm gonna play the first 2-3 minutes stint off the bench. Then when I get subbed out, I'm gonna tell him my eye's killing me again, which is exactly
Your eye is killing you. This is what we're reducing this to. Your eye is killing you. This is what the NBA's come to.
what happened. If you look back at the tape, you can see Jontay pointing at his eye as he's coming off the court. But this 5th guy who was arrested was forwarded those texts. He then shared the info around, which created a ton of bets that set off alarms. Then, after everyone else was arrested, this guy tried to escape and was caught.
I mean, yeah, if you're betting a lot, if you're putting in a lot of bets on on Jontay Porter, yeah, it's gonna be a red flag.
Trying to board a plane to Colombia with a one-way ticket and $10,000 in cash. But how does this link to Terry Rozier? Well, the Wall Street Journal says authorities believe some of the people who arranged for Porter to fix his performance in 2 games last season had inside information that prompted them to bet large sums of money against Rozier a year earlier. Really?
So a whole year they waited and then they finally decide to bam him.
So Rozier is somehow connected to this group that Porter was working with? How? I mean, Jontay was barely in the NBA making league minimum. Terry is a legit NBA player. Got a $100 million. NBA chose to ban Jontay Porter for life A judge even blocked him from playing overseas. Basketball is
Damn,
done.
that's cold.
So let's look back at the full game tape for Terry Rozier. This only applies, by the way, to the one game when Terry was on the Hornets in 2023. I know a lot of people pointed to that Heat game earlier this year when Terry freaked out at Bam Adebayo for a garbage time rebound, which was weird. But that's not what set off the red flag. In this game, Terry starts and looks good, getting physical here, guarding Brandon Ingram early, no signs of a limp. Later, look, he goes really hard after that rebound. Unlike Jontay Porter, who is actively avoiding rebounds. I mean, if you're trying to hit the under, you don't fight for a board like this. But hey, it could be he's getting under for points. Nope, here he is hitting a bucket. No hesitation. But rewind that. Before that bucket, he awkwardly hops. Is his foot bothering him there? Hard to tell.
Nothing but actors.
Later, while bringing the ball up the court, though, he sort of like kicks his foot out like he's trying to shake something off. But then when Terry walks off for the last time, not even a limp. He wasn't even stepped on. Dude
The old Patrick Mahomes play.
was then out the next 8 games with an injury. But this would be a huge scandal. Terry Rozier is a rotation player for the Heat. If he gets banned, what happens to his roster spot? Why did he even need the money after making
Simple. Somebody else will replace him.
$100 million? I mean, bets on props are like low limits. It is very hard to make like millions of dollars on a Terry Rozier under and get away with it. By the way, Terry hasn't been charged or even officially accused of doing anything wrong. The NBA investigator found no wrongdoing. This is nothing like the Jontay Porter scandal so far. Remember, as soon as Jontay was investigated, he was pulled from the Raptors rotation. Yeah, Terry has just been playing. So I feel
Yeah, that's a little fishy that he's still able to play after this whole scandal if it's connected to the Jontay Porter scandal.
bad if his name is connected here to all of this because the government thinks something might have happened. I mean, people are already assuming that he's guilty, calling him things like thug. But what if something did happen here and it wasn't Terry's fault? The most valuable information that bettors can have is about minutes, because minutes equals stats. Very useful when you're trying to bet props. For example, last season the Nets were resting 3 starters against the Bucks, not including Mikal Bridges. But smart bettors knew that Mikal owns the active streak for most games played in a row. So the Nets probably wanted Mikal to rest, but he said, no, let me at least start so I can keep my streak alive. Sure enough, Mikal only played the first quarter, hitting the under. ESPN says that one bettor made
All by design. All by design for him to hit the under like that, and especially if he just gonna play a quarter.
$22,000 on a parlay. Another had a ticket in to win $61K. But was any of this illegal? No. These were just smart bettors who knew the NBA better than the sports books. But who else has inside information that could be illegal? Outside of players, it could be a lot of people. It could be the training staff, an intern, a friggin' PR person. They all could have known from being at practice that Terry was fighting through a foot issue and was going to try to play through.
Yeah, especially with that many people that you pass throughout the facilities, practice to the court to the arena. Yeah, somebody would have known something.
Through it that night. This is why the NBA comes down so hard on teams for not publishing all of their injury information. Some teams have been fined like over $100,000. It can be used by shady
Chump
people
change.
like this. In fact, that foot injury ended his season. He didn't play another game. It was definitely more serious than people knew, but somebody knew and could have leaked this info. It could have been like even a friend or family member. We don't know. So what's more likely? A guy who made over $130 million doing this for a little cash, or somebody connected to the team leaking non-public info. But now Terry Rozier's
That's why I said he is involved in it, even though he's not, guilty of anything yet. I say he's involved in it. Well, there's smoke, there's fire.
face and picture are underneath a headline that says betting scandal, which is messed up because now it's going to label him a cheater for the rest of his career, guilty or not. But this
He wouldn't be
thing
the
could
first
get
one.
a whole lot bigger. Investigators said the inquiry into Rozier is a part of a wider government probe into a sprawling ring of gamblers and poker players who have allegedly rigged games across the sports landscape.
They've been doing that for decades, man. Like, this is still a cover up. They're not really gonna dig deep enough and get everybody. You see, the NFL is still operating totally fine. And the NBA, I wouldn't say totally fine, but you get my point.
That is huge. They may not have solid evidence on Rozier right now, but we might be on the verge of a gigantic scandal. But that Jontay Porter situation definitely deserves a deep dive. At the time, I put out a video breaking it all down play by play. And unlike the Rozier game, you can clearly see suspicious play by Porter. As soon as the investigators saw this one play, it was all over for Michael Porter Jr.'s little bro.
Or they just waited until they said, you know what? The best way to make it seem like we're policing the rigging of the games is busting people for being in gambling rings. Just another way to get the heat off their ass like the NFL did. So more of the same. More of the same. I say he did it as more players that are involved, but they pick and choose which ones. So those are my thoughts. Shout out to AM Hoops. And yeah, like, comment, subscribe, ring that notification bell. Thank you for watching. We are out.